Night has fallen here in Centerville, Indiana, but as you can see, a warm glow is illuminating my elegant features. That's because I'm basking in the iridescence of this giant candle. If you've ever driven to Indianapolis from the east, you've probably seen this thing. In fact, that's how we found out about it in the first place. My boss, John, heard about our show and told me all about the giant candle.
Did you stop and see the giant candle in the candle factory?
There's a giant candle?
You have to go back and see it.
Okay.
Go now.
And when that man tells me to go see a giant candle in Indiana,
Here we go, 300 feet.
believe me, I drop everything and go see a giant candle in Indiana.
Wow, that is a really big candle.
Hey John! I wanted to say hi from the giant candle. You were totally right because it's awesome. So what exactly is this thing? It's a candle store. There's every type of candle you can imagine. Hearth, mini hearth, Aurora pillar, giant 3-wick, loaf, bigger loaf. So there's good reason for having a big candle to light the way to this place. It's a big deal inside, but it started quite humbly in the basement of Alan and Jackie Carberry's home in 1995. They wanted to create the perfect candle, one that was highly fragrant, long-lasting, clean-burning, and of course, affordable. And their work paid off. Their basement candle experimentations have since grown into an 80,000 square foot facility that makes 15,000 candles a day. It's a classic tale of the American dream come true. So what inspired them to start all this? Well, who better to ask than Jackie herself? And her dog Maddie tagged along for a bit too.
For years I sold antiques, and we brought candles into the antique shop, and we were on a one-way street in Richmond, Indiana, and candles became the staple of that store. So that was our market study. We're like, wow, I couldn't keep candles in. So we started Warm Glow really, literally from nothing. In the basement of our home, back in 1995 in July, we did our first show back in Pennsylvania. We sold out the first day we were there.
But even after the initial success, Jackie has to admit,
I never thought that it would become this.
and what precisely is all this? It's an enormous outlet store that sells not only candles, but every type of home good imaginable, and offers up delicious handmade food at the Stone Hearth Cafe. Now, I know what you're probably all wondering. What's inside the giant candle? The answer? Alcohol! And lots of it.
So this is our Indiana beer and wine section. This is a huge part of what we do. Now we're inside the candle.
Ah, this is in the candle.
We are inside the candle, but now we've converted it into a wine barrel.
Check this out. Stepping inside the candle is like waltzing into a giant wine barrel with a phenomenal selection of local wines and craft beer from breweries like Indiana darling Three Floyds. Ryan's favorite beer of all time is Gumball Ahead, so obviously he was very excited about that.
All of the wines and beers are made in Indiana. Some are made closer to us here in Wayne County than others, but they're all made here.
So beyond the liquor candle, there's an astounding amount of stuff to see at the Warm Glow Candle Outlet. It truly is a destination stop. So to see it all, you really need to road trip here for yourself. But here's a quick run through with Jackie. If you head out of the candle and make a right out the door, you'll cross a patio over to an open air garden decor center.
We have all these wonderful garden accessories. We have chimes. There's just so much out here to look at.
If you continue through there, you'll walk into Artisans in Java, which is just what it sounds like, a showcase of local artisans and a coffee bar. That's where we met Rex. His name is actually Art, but Jackie says he looks like a Rex.
I don't know why he looks like a Rex to me, and I've always called him Rex. And he's so patient because he was a school teacher.
Always going to be Rex. No matter how big the name tag grows.
Art, or Rex, brewed up a fantastic toasted marshmallow iced latte for me using beans from Boston Stoker Coffee Company, and then Jackie showed me around the building. Back before Warm Glow took over the space, it housed the showers and rec room for the campground that used to be here. But now,
What we have in here is local artisans, and we have potters, and we have painters, and we have jewelry makers, and we have authors, and it's just a wonderful variety. Soap makers, and everything is made really close around here, everything in Indiana.
we also noticed some interesting accents in the cement work on the floor.
When we built this, I told the contractor, I said, I want my dog's paw prints on the floor.
Did they let them run around?
They did! The concrete guy, you know, they like everything to look like a mirror. The concrete guy was like, oh my God, she brought 4 dogs that came and ran through wet concrete. And the general guy said, well, is she happy? And he goes, well, she seems to be. We even have on our billboards that we're pet friendly because we travel with our dogs, and I really covet when I find a place where I can bring them in and have them with me, you know.
If you head back out the way you came, all the way past the candle, then you'll be in the main candle store. This is the center of the warm glow galaxy. Here you'll find 72 different rotating aromas, most notably the food flavors that the company has come to be known for.
Like our cinnamon bun and our carrot cake and all those kind of fragrances, our snickerdoodles, those are what we're known for in the market.
You'll also notice that the candles have a very unique look to them. They don't look like your typical pillar candle.
There were a lot of freestanding pillars out there that were smooth-sided. We wanted to stand out. And so we developed that look. We call it lumpy bumpy. And it's kind of our signature.
Which brings us, of course, to the enormous lumpy bumpy that greets travelers outside.
This is our huge candle. It's around 60 feet tall, and there's a 10-foot flame on the top, and it's about 30 feet in diameter.
Just whose idea was it to put a giant candle right next to the Dwight D. Eisenhower Highway? Jackie and Alan, of course. They built it.
And when we did it, I said, oh my God, I want a candle as part of the building. And they're like, you're nuts. And I'm like, no, come on, we can do this, you know?
The entire plot of land here used to be a campground. They bought it in 1999 and used the old 3,000 square foot campground store as their original storefront. By 2004, it was really taking off and it was time for an expansion.
It's steel structure. And then they just took 4x8 sheets of plywood and they had to slowly bend them and apply them. Then we had to coat it. And then the gentleman from Muncie, Brian Blair, he used a process real similar to what a Corvette's made of. It was a 2-part resin, apply it heavily in some areas and not as heavily in others to give the exterior of the candle the lumpy bumpy look. It was certainly a challenge maybe for our contractor, but boy, he was up for it and he was right on board with it.
Yeah, I'm sure that's a request he's never had before.
Probably not, yeah.
So how about that? This is basically the Corvette of candles.
And the big question, of course, is this the world's largest candle? Well, we stopped at the Stone Hearth Cafe, and the awesome cooks there made us this absolutely outstanding white pizza. The pizza is amazing. And while we were chowing down, we whipped out a napkin and did the math. The answer is yes. This is the world's largest candle. So just how big is this thing? Well, it's 60 feet high and 30 feet wide, and that gives it a volume of 317,260 gallons. We did the math, and at 128 ounces per gallon, and with a conservative burn rate on most normal candles of 5 hours per ounce, this was a real candle. It could burn for 23,178 years. Also, while we're on math, there is another candle in Scappoose, Oregon called the Peace Candle of the World. Very nice. It once claimed to be the biggest candle in the world, but it's only 50 feet tall with an 18-foot diameter. That's 95,178 gallons, so peanuts compared to Jackie's candle in Indiana. And for the purists out there, the largest candle of all time that was made of actual wax was Lilja Holman's candle in Stockholm, Sweden, circa 1897. 80 feet tall with an 8.5-foot diameter, 30,080 gallons. But that's not there anymore.
And you're probably thinking that now that you see us walking through the floral section here, that you've seen everything Warm Glow has to offer. But no, there's a whole additional building.
We're heading to the second edition.
Oh my God.
We call this Home Decor and More. And what we do here is we have many vendors in here. And there's a wide variety of what they all bring to the table.
It's a new section. It's only been here for about a year now. There's about 30 vendors working out of this space, and a lot of them are folks who have done wholesale shows with Warm Glow, and this gives them an opportunity to transition into retail.
This is an artist that was over in Artisans in Java, and she wanted a bigger footprint, so she came over here. Claudia Banks does wonderful work.
Do you ever get lost in here?
No, not now. Not after all these years.
It's a whole lot to take in. Jackie says that she'll often see customers spending upwards of 4 hours perusing the various sections. And when you're there for that long, you'll probably need to use the restroom. So one final note for all you travelers who might be driving by the giant candle, we'd read in a few places that Warm Glow had the best bathrooms on I-70. And that is no joke. Look at these.
This is what husband put together for the restroom. As you can see, he likes aeronautics. And so this is a real propeller from a DC-3, and he's got all the little models hanging, and for men, you know.
In the world of sketchy roadside bathrooms, Warm Glow is a shining diamond in the rough. So even if you've just gotta pee, this is the place to do it. But for our part, we couldn't leave Warm Glow without picking up a few candles for our family.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
You're
This is
welcome.
great.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And of course, for John.
I'm a Yankee Doodle dandy, a Yankee Doodle do or die. I love it.
And that's sort of the magic of the giant candle, right? Eventually, you've got to hit the road again and leave its massive flickering wick in the rearview mirror, but you're able to take a few small pieces of it with you to spread its glow to your friends, your loved ones, and your own Huga home as well. As for us, we're on the road again, off to our next adventure. We can't wait to bring you along to our next destination, wherever it may be.